Hi, it's Friday, December 18th, the week before Christmas. I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times with news from Arkansas and the world. The U.S. has a budget. The Senate today completed action on a spending bill, giant omnibus spending bill. No thanks to Arkansas. Both Arkansas Senators John Boozman and Tom Cotton voted against it. Only two of the House members, French Hill and Steve Womack, had voted against it. It was funny, Mike Huckabee said only liberals voted for this bill. And I thought French Hill, Steve Womack, liberals, not exactly. They're more or less the remaining establishment Republicans in Arkansas. The vote by John Boozman against the budget made it difficult for his opponents, Republican Curtis Coleman and Democrat Connor Eldridge, because they said, well, we'd have voted against this bill too. It was just bad, poorly considered, which fair comment, but makes it hard to run against Boozman if he's done the same thing they do. They'd have just done it better somehow or another. Speaking of the budget, interesting story in the Democrat Gazette this morning about how the Joint Performance Review Committee, this is this ultra-powerful new legislative committee that gets to pass off on executive branch expenditures, is busting its own budget because so many meetings are being held, so many legislators are claiming per diem expenses by signing up to get paid for going to their meetings, often to talk about, for example, children being removed from their homes by Child Protective Services. Legislators like this sometimes, other times they don't like it, unfortunately. Increases the role of foster children in Arkansas, something that we don't provide nearly enough caseworkers for. We could spend more money on that, could we? Don't know. The governor yesterday appointed Tim Griffin to look into making the Department of Human Services still more efficient. That usually doesn't mean more workers, it usually means less. There's just a lot of problems in Arkansas that unfortunately come back to the need for more money to solve, but not a lot of will to do it. The governor did yesterday deliver some Christmas presents for the growing number of foster children in Arkansas. Perhaps he should have delivered some more caseworkers instead. The University of Arkansas today provided the release agreement with Robert Pelizza, the resigned women's volleyball coach. They'll pay him $166,000 through 2017 if he doesn't find other work in return for his resignation, and a promise by both sides that they won't sue each other or make any claims against each other or say anything bad against each other for that matter. You may have been reading in the local paper about a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit in which a law professor, Robert Steinbuch at UALR, is trying to get student data. He thinks affirmative action is a bad thing. He thinks if he gets enough data, he can show that somehow black students are being done a disservice by being admitted to law school when they're not necessarily qualified. I printed today a memo sent out by the law dean that shows, in fact, over the last 3 years, black students at UALR are doing a better job on passing the bar exam than white students. So there you go. If there is affirmative action at UALR, and I'm not saying there is, it seems to be working pretty well. Ted Sewell, a provider of mental health services for young people in both inpatient and outpatient settings, who's received tens of millions of dollars over the past couple of decades in Arkansas and has been a power player in Arkansas politics, typically from the evangelical Republican side of the spectrum, appeared in federal court today. He's pleaded not guilty to charges that he bribed public officials to get favors in the operation of his business, which is funded with public money, primarily federal Medicaid money. A trial was set in January. Last night, the Brinkley School Board voted 4-2 to dismiss its school superintendent, Arthur Tucker. He's charged with felonies for keeping car allowance money that he wasn't entitled to draw, some $14,000 worth. Finally, in the face of community pressure, the board said it just didn't look right to keep on the job a guy who's been accused of felony crime. And finally, today's Huckabee. He's laying off staff. He's reducing staff pay. His daughter says if he doesn't have a good showing in the Iowa caucuses, this campaign may be over. And I'm over. Until next week, I'm Max Brantley.
You feel it in your heart. The spirit of Little Rock. We've had that spirit since 1927, helping build our city by producing decades of leaders in the heart of our state. We are the heart of business and innovation, the heart of politics and government, the heart of arts and culture, and in our city beats the heart of a Trojan. UALR, we are Little Rock's team and Little Rock's University.